Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. Right, as always I am doing these pre and post buff damage comparisons, and this is the video for Storm. However, there is one minor change this time around. I actually have 3 clips, and I'm gonna explain that as we go along. So the first clip, as always, is pre-buff Storm with no synergies and nothing else affecting her, so just the solo Storms. This is 6-star rank 1 Sig 40 Storm, no liquid courage double edge, no boosts, no synergies, just a flat out old version of Storm. And I'm going to save people quite a lot of time. Obviously Storm was quite outdated, and she could throw a decent special by herself now and then, but you know, there was virtually nothing going on other than some, you know, lucky crit on a special attack. And one thing that you do try is to throw special attacks when an opponent has more power, and that kind of gives you bonus damage. But here we can see that's like 11k there. And let's go on for next special attack in a second. Again, trying to push him as much power as possible. We have 11.7k non-crits. Do we have any interesting numbers there? So I do throw some run again, 11,000 non-crits. So we kind of get the idea. Storm's very simple champion to play pre-buff by herself. Here we have nice 35k crit that actually does something, but it takes a while. Now I did drop my combo somewhere along the way, but you know, it's a fairly mundane, fairly boring fight. There's nothing interesting happening, and you just hope for a critical hit on a special attack. And that is how Storm pre-buff used to work. Right, and this first fight takes 308 hits, 4 minutes, 56 seconds. As far as stats go, that's not the worst, but it's definitely nowhere near good enough for today. Now, we are using a synergy team. The synergy team is Nimrod, Black Panther, Apocalypse, and Professor X. However, she is not a horseman, and that is what this next clip is going to be about. In the next clip, we are going to make her the horseman. But already just synergizing her with Nimrod, with Black Panther, you know, she gets some crit rates, she gets a Roman synergy there. Nimrod has a very good synergy where if stun fails on a level 1, then she gains kind of like a dormant passive prowess that is 100% potent, and then she can drop a massive level 2, and that immediately improves the level 2 damage. And here, from this point forward, I'm going to be trying to spam as many heavy attacks as I can to place those shocks. But again, unless you make Storm the horseman, then that shock duration is very short to begin with. And also, on top of it all, she doesn't refresh the old one, so you can see that shocks do fall off. It is a nice additional source of damage, but again, Storm had to be made a horseman in order to be able to do that crazy dot damage that I'm going to showcase later. But notice that passive dormant prowess there, still sleeping, laying in wait. It's actually a very powerful 100% potent prowess, I believe. And we're going to see its effect momentarily. So here again, I'm still just trying to spam the heavy attacks to get in as much shock damage as I can. I'm nearly at 2 bars of power though, and I do make a mistake somewhere along the way, I think, here, but let's just get to it. So I drop another heavy attack. I have several shocks, so they are passively dealing damage to Winter Soldier. So I'm gonna go for my level 2, and that was 117k damage with one of those dormant prowesses. So that Nimrod synergy was actually really good for Storm. And now we had 46k crit on a level 1 as well. And obviously, so synergized Storm, even not as a horseman, could throw out some ridiculous damage thanks to Nimrod synergy and a few other ones. But here the shock has fallen off, and it's going to be fairly bland kind of finish there. So I think I do get to my level 2 again. And that level 2 unfortunately doesn't crit, so 29k damage, and then I drop a heavy attack. The fight is over, and this was, you know, almost twice as fast. Could have been twice as fast. So there was a massive difference to unsynergized Storm and synergized Storm. And obviously now we're gonna make Storm Horseman of Apocalypse pre-buff, and this is gonna be just kind of like a crazy fight with. As soon as I get the first shock on Captain Marvel with the level 1, first one unfortunately didn't place it, second one does. Then from this point forward, however, 35 hits in the fight already, unfortunately. You know, the damage is just gonna grow and grow because that heavy attack is 4 hits, which is also quite important. And is it 4 or 5? No, it is 4 hits, right? And obviously now we can see that she starts melting. Absolutely starts melting. from those 4-hit heavy attacks, and those shocks being refreshed, lasting longer. At this point, they're already dealing, 17,700 damage per tick. Now here I nearly kind of dropped them, but luckily I did manage to refresh them on time. Now, and as the longer the fight goes, the stronger the shocks become, the more of them I get up there, and the faster the Captain Marvel falls, basically. We can see that's 28 shocks, 32 shocks. It's going to be quite interesting. And how strong is going to be the shock damage by the end there? So there we go. That's nearly 5k per tick. And that's still 6-star rank 1. So obviously we knew that Storm had the potential of some of the highest damage over time damage in the game once you make her Horseman. The problem with Storm always was that she is useless by herself, basically. Right, and then update. And with update, apparently I do get my Paragon title sent to me as well. Sweet, why not? So we are Paragon in the game now. But now we're going to be checking out the new Storm. And this is, again, unsynergized. My PI somehow dropped drastically. I do not know what they did. But the base idea is with Storm now and the new animations that whenever you crit, you gain a prowess. And there are other abilities, but they will not come into play. But basically, whenever I do land a critical hit, I gain a prowess. And whenever I drop a heavy attack, I can pause those prowesses. Now, this was the very first fight I do with that new Storm. And obviously there's going to be some learning curve. But the point is just to heavy quite a lot if you want to amp up those prowesses and pause them, and then basically drop special attacks as and when in between. And you can, gain more and more of them as the fight progresses, especially if you manage to land a lot of heavy attacks. Now, I will have some prowesses drop off in this fight, and I'm sure you can play it better. This was, again, my very first fight using the Storm, and there seems to be something up with the timers of the prowesses as well, because sometimes they just don't seem to be paused at all. Sometimes they just don't seem to be paused. Like we can see here, I just dropped a heavy attack and I had 2 prowesses drop off. So I do think that there is something bugged. Sometimes they pause, sometimes they don't, and I have no clue when what happens. As you can see, again, I dropped a heavy attack and it didn't pause them. Now it does seem to have paused some of them. But at this point, we can already definitely see I have, 19 prowesses here? Well, no, never mind that. I only have 15 because it doesn't want to pause them. But still, obviously, much, much, much higher special damage from a rank 1 6-star character with no synergies. That is a good amount of damage. That is very good amount of damage. As far as animations go, obviously, Storm's specials are now harder to evade, which is going to be a pain. And I'm not sure how I feel about heavy attack, I'll be honest. I don't like that it has less hits now. I think it has 2 hits now, maybe 3. And I'm going to talk to that a bit later. I'm not sure I like this heavy attack for Storm specifically. And I'm going to explain it again. So we're going to see that. Does it have the... Okay, one second. I do make some mistakes here. My bad on that. Again, I was just confused there. I think it's 2 hits on a heavy attack. And that kind of shows. But here we can see 30 prowesses. Again, unfortunately, not too many of the hits crit, but 31 prowess, sweet. Go for level 1, 18k crit there. And those are very good numbers for an unsynergized champion. 6-star, rank 1, no boosts, no special masteries. So she definitely will do quite a lot of damage. The shocks are definitely more potent as well by the looks of it. And total hit count and time for this fight. Remember, it used to be 300 some hits and nearly 6 minutes. So it's basically double the damage output here. And again, I think there is that bug that doesn't necessarily always pause the prowess. But now we are going to bring the same synergy team in with Nimrod, Black Panther, Professor X, and Apocalypse. She's not a horseman yet in this video, but we're already definitely going to see some significant improvements here, play-wise. So again, our job, well, I do, again, kind of slip off here, but it's fine. I think that this was the last slip up in this fight. Okay, so again, the job is to get those shocks on, spam as many heavy attacks as I can, but I immediately noticed again, because it's less hits, can't really do much in terms of refreshing. Before, the heavy attack worked better with that Apocalypse synergy, where it had more hits and you could get more shock on quicker. So that is the definite small but still, noticeable downside if you use Storm before for her shocks as a horseman, which I don't think that many people did, like, realistically in competitive scenarios. But now she's definitely not quite as good at that. But she's much better pretty much for everything else. And here we are. We have 27 prowesses here. And again, we're going to drop that heavy attack, bait out the level 1. And we're just trying to build up as many as we can, going for level 1. There's some neat damage there. Why not? Again, drop the heavy attack to pause the prowess. And also get some more shocks on the opponent. Get in another hit there. And that Winter Soldier is gonna be going down. Sorry about that. Significantly quicker. So I have 38 prowess there. Few are probably gonna fall off, but still back holding in at them 38. And obviously, the longer the fight goes, the more damage Storm has. The longer the fight goes, the more damage she has, because we continuously keep on building our prowess. And let's just see here how it is going to finish out. I think we're going to finish with quite nice special attack in a second. And another thing is that I don't think you can chain heavies in a corner anymore with Storm, which is going to be, again, annoying for that shock synergy with Apocalypse. Because I think she pushes herself quite far away. We have 33 prowess here. 35, sweet. Without that. But again, we have some, they don't always pause. But here again, unfortunately, none of those hits crit. But it was still a ton of damage. Fortunately, none of them crit. But here, level 1 finishes off the fight. And this one was 100 hits and 236. And now, obviously, the last one. The last one is the best. Because this time around, she's a Horseman of Apocalypse. And again, every time we crit in this fight, we gain prowess. So we just try to get in as many crits as quickly as possible, then start spamming heavy attacks. But obviously, because we do have the Horseman of Apocalypse pre-fight placed on Storm, what we also want to do is get those shocks initially on. And, well, then just spam our heavy attacks to refresh them basically indefinitely. And here we can see that we're just going to carry on refreshing. And by spamming these heavy attacks, we're also going to be pausing our prowesses, and our damage is going to grow up from 2 sources in this case, because we're going to be getting more and more shocks and more prowesses. But again, in this fight, you can definitely notice that previously you could build up a lot more shocks a lot quicker, just because you could spam heavy attacks in corner. That's one. Second thing is also that heavy attack had 4 hits instead of 2 hits. So it's kind of a cheeky thing. I don't know if they took that in consideration and did it on purpose, or just something that they overlooked, but I'm not a fan of that heavy attack change at all. And this fact that you can't spam it in the corner, and the fact that it only has 2 hits instead of 4. But we're about to see something awesome. We have 18 shocks there, 19 shocks, 30 prowesses, and here we go. And that was quite a lot of damage there from 6-star rank 1. And obviously another level 1, and that finishes it all off. So she does do a ton more damage. For a 6-star rank 1, without Liquid Courage, Double Edge, Boost, or anything of the sort, she does quite insane amount of damage. To get down a Realm of Legends opponent in 70 hits as a 6-star rank 1, not bad. Again, there is obviously still a lot more testing to be done, and this is by no means some sort of final overview of a champion. But, you know, she will be hitting a lot harder, and there is something to be looked into, in my opinion. And we'll see whether she gains some meta relevance or not. Let me know what you guys think, and I'm going to catch you guys later. See ya. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about the